Hey folks, welcome to episode 158 of the Phil Swallow podcast. This episode is entitled Tales from a Failed Shoot. There's a bit of human nature that says sometimes we like to look in on a bad event. I don't know what do you call it, but there's terms for it. I had a bit of a situation. So there was a planned shoot last week, quite a detailed plan, and I went off with great intentions of doing this walk, starting Hamsey Green, going down the Dobbin, Whiteleaf Wreck, going on Whiteleaf, going up Jacob's Ladder, and back via Wallingham, picking out various sights and sounds, not really sounds, various sights on the way. And generally, I thought it was good. The climb up the 200 odd steps of Jacob's Ladder from kind of lower Wallingham up to Wallingham was a challenge, but I did it. Funnily enough, my health app said your average stair climbing rate has gone up. Well, of course it has. Anyway, by the by. So, what was the failure? Well, it kind of started quite early, the failure, and this was where I had planned my route based on OS maps, following public footpaths, obviously. That's the way the map works, or the way the app works. I think Ordnance Survey liaise with the councils to know the actual footpaths. And I know I veered a little off track, but not far. And I got to an area that was a kind of junction. This is in what was Wallingham Court Farm area. And I did recall something on this Nextdoor app, like a social media app, that there'd been some boundary confirmation fencing gone in to demarcate between private and public land. And anyway, I just turned up at this property, and I'm at this sort of gate at the back of this property, and a guy was out there with a cup of tea. And I said, how do I get from here to there, i.e. the other side of this particular property? He said, well, that's all private land there. Right. So I told him I thought I'd follow the footpath, and he pointed out, no, it was most definitely private. And really the only option was to go back where I came, which was back where I'd started the previous walk, corner of Tythe Pitchell Lane, where it kind of does a 90-degree turn. And I then he then called upon which I assume was another, either an occupant of the area or owner or something. And yeah, he kind of confirmed it, but very kindly let me through the property. He said, just undo the gate, walk through, and then you'll come out the other side and I can carry on my walk. And that was great. So what I did, that's kind of the first failure, because I was kind of caught on the hop. I thought I was following the right path, or at least that it was common land, and if I'd missed it, I could still get back onto the path. But I couldn't really see, even quite early on that particular phase, I couldn't really see where the demarcation line was. It was a bit odd. There's bits of fencing that have been kind of installed in various places, but it was very overgrown. So all I've done for that particular part is to contact Surrey County Council, who look after the footpaths, and just say, look, I think some clearance is needed there. And then maybe within clearance, if there is some kind of issue with the drawing of the lines and marking of the lines, then maybe they'll sort it out. But so that was one thing. I did also feel that quite early in that stage, it wasn't the most attractive route, although there was quite a bit of nice history at Wallingham Court Farm. So I'm going to work out how I weave that into a future walk. But that was okay. I kind of, when going down through the Whiteleaf section, I thought, well, I'm walking along Godstone Road. You can't really walk any other way. There's railway line and various things. So I thought, well, I'll cut that out or speed it up or do something fancy. But it was a bit kind of meh. The Wallingham bit was fine. Found a reservoir that I didn't know existed on the top of Westhall Road, covered reservoir. It's not immediately visible as you kind of go by, but you can see down a little entrance. Never knew it was there at all. And obviously things that relate to water for some reason interest me. So that was that. Got home and I'm scrubbing through, as we call it, scrubbing through the clips, just making sure that the levels were okay, because I'd done some tweaks in the sound from the previous one. I didn't feel there was enough oomph in the sound for the previous one. And I went through, and literally half of the clips from the moment I got up to the top of Jacob's Ladder, maybe did something weird, disconnected something. I know I took my backpack off to get a glug of water, but anyway. And I didn't actually failure. I didn't check the recording levels. You get a little kind of meter guide thing in the screen that you're looking at when you're recording, and I, for some reason, didn't check it. I mean, you get kind of, particularly after a climb, I'm making excuses. You do get used to just the fact, oh, it's recording. It's all solid connections. Yeah, let's go. Anyway, so I thought, well, is that a major issue? Because I actually had a bit of a mic issue on the previous one, but the microphones I use, they record on the kind of transmitter receiver bit, and that then records also into the camera. So normally you just take what's in the camera, it's audio, visual, or audio video, and you can just work with those kind of combined files. But sometimes you have to do some synchronization. So I got round to that for the previous one, the Habsy Green Riddlesdown one that's live. And I thought, okay, I've lost what was on the file, but don't worry, because the transmitter receiver kind of almost backup recording, I'll just use that until there was no backup recording on the file, on the device. Unplug, plug it in, go round time and time again, try and see what's going on. Nothing, absolutely no audio whatsoever. So the audio I was speaking didn't make its way to the local device, let's call it the local transmitter receiver, the local device, and therefore also didn't make it through to the final device, which was the GoPro that I was using for this particular video. There is literally no other real option. I suppose if I'd gone away miles and miles and miles for this, and I'd just done it in one day, and I couldn't really go back and re-record, then yeah, I'd have to kind of live with that, or edit around it, possibly, maybe do voiceover. Although I tried that on my first Tokyo one, I didn't really like it. So what to do? Well, what to do is to say, why did you have that problem? Well, I don't know to this day. Sorry, I'm just getting my my little script up ready. I don't know to this day what actually disconnected. I think the mic must have disconnected somewhere in one of the connections, although they're normally pretty solid, and it's not like I'm throwing it around on a mountain bike or something. But the biggest failure was that in recent changes, and I don't really change these things too much, although I think there was a firmware update recently, for some reason it defaulted this recording device, the local device, to not record. And what that means is don't record to its own device. Don't record to the first step in the chain. So I had no backup whatsoever. I don't know why that happened, because I've always had it to always be on recording. What that means is from the moment I plug it in, even if I've not started filming, it's actually recording. So I'm walking along the road or shutting the car door or getting my backpack on, you hear all those noises, but I just don't use them, obviously. So I decided to step back on all of this. So I had something that I had half a video, wasn't good enough. I had something that I'd done the walk, and the walk wasn't bad overall. And I thought, right, okay, well, first make the changes technically to understand or to make sure it doesn't happen again. Secondly, why not just rework the walk? So that's what I'm going to do. And I've planned and not yet executed a walk which takes in the key elements from that one, which is the walk down the Dobbin. And that has changed so much since back in the day. I'll obviously show you it to you in due course. And the climb up Jacob's Ladder will still happen, but I'm going to bring in some other elements around it. So I've got that kind of planned. It's pretty much ready to go. So that's the one thing that it made me. This is about kind of triumph from adversity almost, but it made me rethink. Well, was actually you've got to do it again. Are you going to do it again exactly as it is, or actually you're going to do it slightly different? And I'm going to do it slightly different. So that's the plan, is to go out on this slightly reworked route. This week we've got some really warm weather, up to approaching 30 degrees, quite freak for this time of year, really. So I'm not going to do it this week. I'm not going to do that climb. I've got a kind of flatter walk that I'm working on that I might do later this week, and all will be revealed in due course on that one. In terms of the fix for the microphone side, well, Rode, I use a lot of Rode equipment, RODE. They brought out a Wireless Pro, which is, I use the Wireless Go 2. The Wireless Pro is better. It's got screw-in mic connections and various other things. So that's coming today. That should be here around lunchtime. And once I've kind of set it up, sussed it out, there's loads of YouTube videos already about, that kind of thing, and from the company themselves and others. So I will use that in earnest for the first shoot. Now that's got more backup features in there, such as the gain control, got more latitude, some other technical things in there. So I'm looking forward to that because I like new stuff. Also, GoPro are going to release the Hero 12 tomorrow, I think. Now, if you've got an 11 to 12, not much difference. I've got a 9, so I may go for that as well. May spend out again, but I do, as I say pretty much every week, I've got gear to sell. I've just got to get around and sell it when when eBay have an offer on. So that was that. Learnings, big learnings that I feel sometimes when I do these, I kind of rush out a bit, even though I would have prepped the night before and done the battery charging and all that, but maybe my focus was off, and it proves that we're still learning. We all do, don't we? Still learn as we go through life. So yeah, it'll be better next time, promise. So where are we? Hamzy Green Loop video. So yes, that's live. It's going down quite nicely. Lots of nice engagement in terms of the comments, which I love. A lovely ratio of likes to views, really good. So I like doing these walks. There's some huge YouTube channels out there that do just walks. Some don't even put any commentary on them. They're way bigger than my channel. They make mine look like nothing. But I feel that there must be something out there. So all I'm looking to do is go on a walk, take you with me, tell you a few stories and a few maybe historical facts on the way, and hopefully some nice visuals. And it's just a bit of fun. So I hope you like that. That's part of what I do. I did delete the old Tokyo video, re-edited it just with sound and captions, made it a bit tighter, stripped out some stuff that I decided I didn't like the voiceover I did. That was a choice I made when we went on the holiday to not always be talking into a microphone, and I think I made that choice right. The views are okay. I think there's already more likes than I had. Maybe I expected a bit more. I've mentioned before when I did the Los Angeles to San Francisco video, it sat at a very low number for a very long time, and then now it's up at over 30,000. So we don't know. We'll see where that goes. But I'm just going to leave it there now. I'm not going to change it again. I'm not going to rush to do the rest of my Japanese videos. They'll be done as I get time, possibly later in the year, because I feel this is good walking season. This is good getting out and about, and I've got quite a few that I want to tick off and do. So that's going to be the focus until such time as I want to revisit the rest of the Japanese holiday video, because that's always going to be made into a record of our brilliant trip. So it's even if it's just there to share it with the family. So, but hopefully it'll be more people will be interested. So, family history show Sue and I went to on Saturday over at Kempton Park, just on the other side of Hampton Court. Quite a nice little run over there, actually. And it was really interesting. It was a large chunk of it was selling the benefits of certain software that some of the exhibitors use. Let's say software website, and there's a family tree package you can buy, which I haven't got. But the genealogist website is very good, and it gave loads of tips about when you're doing your family tree type research and you hit a brick wall, and what are the options you can do. How can you kind of not sway, that's wrong. How can you focus, I suppose, the searches a bit more to have a better chance of result. So really good tips there. Sue and I were both sort of making notes as we were going through the presentations, and there was one specifically on DNA, One was from a guy who was involved in the first few series of Who Do You Think You Are, and the ethos behind that program is quite interesting. So that was a really nice trip, a nice sort of full day really, and then that was quite rare for Sue and I to, although it was something that we're interested in, it was a kind of day off. And likewise on Sunday, so we went to see our lovely granddaughters and son and daughter-in-law, and spent some time with them in the morning on Sunday. That was great. Love family time. And in the afternoon, went to see Crystal Palace, and they recorded a victory. Yay! They played pretty well in the second half. First half was to be forgotten very, very quickly. One other thing I'm going to mention just briefly, sort of in closing, is stats. So analytics. I dip into these reasonably regularly just to see how things are, what things are being looked at, and what's popular. The aerodrome stuff seems quite popular. And I saw that after last week, that there's a little kind of graphic, and it's if someone's watching a specific piece of content and either subscribe to your channel or unsubscribe to your channel while you're watching it, you get a little kind of indicator. It's obviously a numerical value. So, and there was two that almost amused me. So one was last week's podcast, or the last podcast I did, which is a little bit over a week ago. So there was a negative one on that. I thought, okay. And then the other one was the Hamzy Green video, which for all its brilliant engagement and likes, it went down by one as well. And I suppose that's all you can do, laugh. I mean, I can't control how people receive what I do. It is what it is. It's what I want to do. I do it to the best of my ability, which hopefully my ability gains over time. But I'm putting myself out there. I'm putting hopefully subject matter which has some interest in more than just me. Although, someone did say once it's about having a niche interest in your video, in your channel on YouTube. But, I don't know the science behind it. Some channels just take off, and I look at them and I think, blimey, I wouldn't have edited it that way. But they've got the numbers. So whatever magic sauce they have, they're getting the success. So, but, I don't want to do things that chase that. I want to do what I'm happy doing. I hope it comes across well and as well as intended. I think I've mentioned a little while ago that I like to think that if larger numbers landed on my channel, they would still find stuff of interest, and that not that, the earlier stuff's rubbish, but it's getting a bit better now. I mean, there should always be progression in anything, really. So I just thought it was weird seeing those stats, and yet I think I had 5 new subscribers just on Saturday alone. You can't always pick through where they subscribed at what point, or maybe I don't know the analytics well enough, and maybe that should be something I do when I'm sitting down over a cup of tea. But it was very strange. And someone I used to follow quite closely on, in the world of photography, and he did video stuff as well. He made a quote once. I think he quoted his dad or something about, and it was about you and your brand and how you come across, and it was to hopefully make it clear about what you are and what you do, so that people can make an informed decision. So he used to say something like, better to have 50% of people hate you, 50% of people love you, rather than 100% that don't give a damn. I hope you kind of get where he's coming from there. And that's a key part of a brand. You put yourself or your brand or your product out there, people can see it, and they'll either buy it or they won't. They may change their mind and come back to it in a future date, but that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. Now, I know I do slightly different content. I know I do videos where sometimes they are captioned music. Well, I tend to do music in quite a few of them. Or there's me doing a walk and talk, which I love doing, and that might be around a specific route, or I just kind of hit an area and do a walk and talk. But I like doing walk and talks. They're kind of probably my main thing. And then the travel, which can be, feast or famine, really. As I say, I've got thousands of views for the Los Angeles to San Francisco because it's a very big, popular, searchable subject. Some of the others, mixed bag. Even the Seville videos, quite a few thousand views. I quite like doing the travel, but again, if the numbers aren't as good as some of the others, then it's still a record. It's still us, even if it's just for me and Sue to go back to say, oh yeah, we enjoyed that holiday and we've got all those main things and the memories come back. Great. If someone else can get benefit because they want to plan to go there and that gives them an extra bit of kind of research, even better. Absolutely brilliant. So basically, my channel is that mixture, a little bit of variety. I think it would get boring quickly if it was just the same thing for every video, the same editing style, the same transitions, the same kind of exact same format. And I tweak things as I go, but I do like to use the maps quite a lot, and obviously the dissolves and those sort of things. I don't like to over transition it. When you're watching a TV program, you just go cut. Sometimes you see match cuts where someone will exit a room by opening a door and walking through it, and then the next scene will come by someone coming through a door in a completely different scene, different location. Different things like that happen, but by and large, not a lot's going to change. I'm still going to visit the local area. In fact, last night I was looking on the Bourne Society website, and they had some walks from 2010, 2011, some of the areas, and one in Sanderstead must have been much earlier than that, because it made mention to, as you come to the end of Village Way, look over the road at Do It All, which has been Waitrose for a number of years. So I might revisit that walk today, obviously, as a bit of a kind of follow-up to my original Sanderstead one, because there were some other little facts and figures that came out of it. I was pleased that it mentioned Benjamin Beeson. That was good. But yes, there were some other facts and figures, so I might almost do even between, say the last 20, 30 years, what's changed, because there will be elements that would have changed. So anyway, ramble. So that's the update. That is episode 158 of the Phil Swallow podcast. Almost forgot what it was then. Thank you for watching, listening, following, subscribing. Really appreciate it. Feel free to share this with your friends and family and even people you don't know. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode, and I'll speak to you again in the next one.